Too powerful to tame, too difficult to reproduce. Sounds like an elder dragon.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Salos, back again with another Monster Hunter video, and let me tell you something you probably already know, because I am extremely tardy to the party. About a week ago, we were finally shown the debut trailer for Monster Hunter Wilds Ascendance. I've already been kind of tagged in it a couple of times. I've been asked my thoughts on everything, but I was watching this live with some of my hunting buddies. Well, exactly one, just a fanged bug. I watched it with him, but I didn't record my reaction. But all things considered, neither one of our reactions were really crazy because neither one of us are big reaction people. So our reactions to things are always going to be very mild, all things considered. So I think a much more interesting video would be to just allow myself to get time to collect my thoughts and to just kind of internalize what I've seen. There's a lot of reaction videos out there already, and I will just be one of the hundreds of people that have already posted videos on just, oh my god, what is that? To say the same exact thing. But this is just going to be like a nice little discussion where I have bullet points in front of me, but pretty much everything that I'm going to be talking about are just like coming off the cuff. It's not going to be really so much like formed and structured, but it's more so just to remind myself on things that stuck out to me during the trailer, and then we just kind of bounce off each other from there. And I didn't even realize that this was the case until I saw other people's reactions. But Ascension is going to be a time skip, which I personally think has a lot of potential, because apparently in Iceborne there was a time skip. I think it was a 3-year time skip, but I think that it kind of fell flat on its face because, one, none of the locales changed. I think that there was like a Black Veil Valhazak in the Ancient Forest. I think that was like the only change. And Kushala appears in the Ancient Forest. Did he appear in high rank? I don't know. Point is, there wasn't a lot of things that showed how time has changed. The first thing that comes immediately to my mind of a time skip, which was done in the 90s, mind you, or 90s, early 2000s, is my favorite Pokemon game, my favorite region of the series, Pokemon Gold and Silver. Because in that game, you visit the Kanto region. It takes place after Red, Blue, and Yellow. I think it's a 2-year time skip. And you get to see how things have changed. You get to see that your rival, Blue/Gary, whatever you want to call him, he has taken over the gym because since Giovanni was outed as the boss of Team Rocket, that the 8th gym leader slot was vacant, and your rival, who was the second strongest trainer in the region, has taken up that mantle and become the 8th gym leader. And you get to see how he runs his gym. You get to see the destruction of the Cinnabar Island. And now Blaine, the gym leader of that city, has to relocate to the Seafoam Islands and has his own little gym right there. There are like a lot of things that go on in Kanto, and you can see that the region has changed over those 2 years. Nothing like that happened with any of the 5 locales in Iceborne. And I get like showing like the ancient forest, probably having like deforestation going on because of the New World hunters taking up resources or whatever. That'll be a lot of development. But the easy way to do it is how Ascendance I feel is doing it. We get to see an aged up Nata, because Nata was a kid, so with kids, a time skip works a lot more effectively because kids, well, they're still growing. So you can very easily see how time is passing through a child. So being that Nata is old enough to be a sacred rider, and honestly, probably, I wouldn't say that he's going to be like the central focus of the story, but I could definitely see him being like a support hunter that's very prominent in the story, like kind of how Olivia was, how she joined us for hunts now and then. I can see Nata filling in that role, and he's like with us in the thick of it now, where he's just training to become a hunter, but he's not like a full-fledged hunter just yet. Like he hasn't been officially inaugurated by the guild and all that type of stuff, but he's very much trying to learn and follow our footsteps. So I think that would be kind of cool how he become like a true mentor to Nata. And by the end of it, he'll probably be a full-fledged hunter that we can just auto-pick as a support hunter. I think that'd be really cool. I could also see them taking him in a direction where he's kind of like Fiorane, how she was in Sunbreak, where Fiorane was by all means the main hunter of Sunbreak. Our hunter was there, but we were in her backyard. Elgato is her turf, and we were there to support the Elgato effort. Sunbreak was Fiorane's story. And if this is Nata's story, I think that's going to be actually kind of cool, because despite the fact that people saying that people didn't like Nata, I think that's just kind of trickled down to the fact that people just don't like kids. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this comes from someone who loves kids. This comes from someone who I can just be minding my own business, and some random child will just walk up to me and just be like, "Hello, adult." I'm like, "Hello, tiny human. Where are your parents?" So, kids are annoying. Okay. Like, nothing Nata did in the story came off to me as him trying too hard or him just being irrational. He was just being a kid. Kids don't have a grasp on reality yet. They don't have a grasp on danger. They don't have a grasp on how the world works, and they don't understand the risk that they put themselves in because they haven't been taught to fear certain things in the world. They haven't been taught to embrace certain things in the world. They don't have that grander knowledge that we have gained either through being told or by learning the hard way. And Nata was about to learn the hard way in many cases in the base story, but the hunter was there to just reel him back in. I don't know. I think that now that Nata has been kind of shown those lessons, and even like with the final hunt with Arkfeld in the high rank story, I think that he understands the dangers that monsters pose and the real threat that they pose to the ecosystem. So I think that Nata, he will still be a little bit more naive. Like, as long as we don't just go full Oliver from Invincible route, then I think that Nata will be a very suitable main character for Ascendance.
And I have just as much to lose as you do, and you need my help, just like I helped with Conquest and all those evil versions of you, so shut up!
Flashback.
But also, there's something that kind of stuck with me. I've been playing through the story again of Monster Hunter Wilds, and one little dialogue option really stuck out to me. It was the one that you do where you have to solo the 9-5 Gore Magala with Nadia. And this line specifically stuck with me on my last replay of that quest.
What's wrong? You eating or not? You look like you want to ask me something.
Say, on the off chance I don't make it back from one of these, what would the others think? What would you?
Are you kidding? Wow. I suggest you go run that question by the people you care about if you're that curious. I bet you 1,000 zenny they'll smack you silly for even entertaining the thought. Actually, forget the bet, because it's a cold, hard fact. Don't ask me how I know, I just do.
Could we possibly see our first death in the franchise? Like, I know that that death has happened in Monster Hunter, but the closest we've seen to that, like, actually play out is Fiorane getting poisoned in Sunbreak, and she, like, went to a coma or something for, like, about a week or so. Honestly, we've never seen a human or a hunter die in a hunt. There's, like, this urban legend or something that why there's a four hunter limit, something on a mono bush or something like that. I don't want to spread false information. I don't have all the information there, but pretty much there's a hunting party of 5, and there were just too many hunters to keep track of or something like that, and the mono blows ended up murking one of the hunters, and they died because they just couldn't reasonably operate outside of a 4-man team. And anything outside of a 4-man team, it becomes hard to communicate with that many hunters on the field. So to prevent a casualty like that from happening again, we are limited to a 4-party lobby. Something like that. I don't, like I said, don't quote me on that. This is all just off the cuff. But we have heard of people dying in hunts. I think that I don't know how this will play out gameplay wise, because Capcom was also very conscientious about gameplay to story. Like the one I always like to point to is in Sunbreak. How everyone got all pissy about the fact that we could just automatically know where a monster is the second we join locale. That's because at the beginning of every hunt in Sunbreak, you can see your hunter flying the Kahoot or the owl, and the owl scans the entire locale, and it comes back and tells you exactly where the monster is. That's why we can just go straight to the monster and getting into the action. So even if it's like some off-branded little detail like that, there is always a reason as to why things are, and the reasoning is never game's got a game. But I think it would be really cool to see Nata step up and become the true hunter of the land. Even if we go back to the old world or where we came from, that I think that it'd be really cool that if Nata is like the Fabius of the Forgotten Lands. I think that Monster Hunter just kind of wants a central human character, because the closest thing we have to a human character that you can just point to and be like, oh yes, that's the Monster Hunter guy. The closest we have to that is Aiden. And even Aiden, like, if you never saw the Legend of the Guild movie, you don't even know he has a name. He's literally just called the A-lister hunter. So, but he's like the closest thing to a person that recurs his role in multiple Monster Hunter games. I think it'd be kind of cool if Nata was like the new Aiden, where he's just going around, he wants to see the world, and he's just going to different locales. Like maybe we'll see him in Ogata one day, and then the next time we'll see him in I don't know, in Celiana. It'd be cool to see Nata just kind of go around to all these famous areas, and who knows, maybe then in Generation 7 of Monster Hunter, we won't have our own original character. We'll be playing as Nata. I don't know, that it has a lot of promise if they really want to just build up Nata as the face of Monster Hunter, which I'd be kind of down for. I don't know about you guys, but I'd be cool with that. And this is a complete shot in the dark. He makes it very clear that he doesn't want to hurt the monsters, or he doesn't want to hunt or hurt them if he doesn't have to. So, because like with Arkfeld, even though he was like, Arkfeld, he just wants to be free. Like, I was making a meme on like just kind of like if Nata was gonna be a rider, or riders being, if you guys don't know, riders are the official terms of the hunters and Monster Hunter stories. It would be kind of cool if Nata was debuting the quote-unquote true 15th weapon. And the 15th weapon being, because if you guys don't know, there was a scrapped 15th weapon class. It was called the Monster Tamer. And that's actually where the Palamute came from. That the Palamute was going to be our weapon, kind of like how the Kinsect is. Where you could probably, it didn't get that far in development. But kind of like how the Kinsect, how you have to nurture it and raise his stats and all that type of stuff. That was going to be the Palamute. That was going to be his main form of everything for like this Beast Tamer class. So it'd be really cool if Nata was debuting the 15th weapon, and we as players, we had no access to this weapon because it's a weapon that Nata is figuring out throughout the course of Ascendance. And by the end of it, he's perfected the weapon, he understands how it works, he presents it to the guild, and becomes a true 15th hunting weapon, and we are the first hunters to debut this brand new weapon. I think that'd be sick, and then we use like we have access to the 15th weapon for all the title updates. Oh, that'd be so cool. But that is a true shot in the dark. If Monster Hunter actually does do that, hats off to them. that is a beautiful way to debut the 15th weapon, but I highly doubt that's gonna happen. That's just my little pipe dream that I hope might have a 0.1% chance of actually happening, realistically speaking. The next thing that I kind of want to focus on is that how this is basically going to be, they basically confirmed that this is an Elder Dragon story. And I want you guys to remember, with the sole exception of Gogmazios, we have never fought an Elder Dragon in Monster Hunter Wilds. Every challenge, every cart, every wall we have encountered, those have all been regular monsters. Which is crazy because Jindahad is right there. Like, how Jindahad is not classified as an Elder Dragon, besides me. But yes, even Jindahad is considered a normal monster. That really makes me question how hard or how far they're gonna push the boundary in difficulty for an Elder Dragon. Because I was asked this by a bug yesterday. He asked me, do I think that we're gonna be expecting like 10-star difficulty with the base game roster? And my answer was absolutely not. Because over time, they even said this before Ascendance was even announced, that Elder Dragons have kind of lost their identity and they've kind of lost their symbol of power over the years. Normal monsters, by comparison, no one hunts normal monsters. Once Elder Dragons come into the mix, you have no incentive to ever fight a normal monster ever again. After we've seen what these normal monsters are capable of, like Ray Dow being able to channel lightning, I think that even after Elder Dragons come back into the picture, I can see very real reasons to use this stuff because, like, Lord Soul, that's still a really good buff. I don't think that like an Elder Dragon skill is going to outclass that. While they'll still be outclassed by Elder Dragons, I think you'll still have real incentive to hunt normal monsters again. But that goes back to Fang's original question. I mean, like these Elder Dragons will be the difficulty of a 10-star quest. And I stand by my statement by saying that title updates, they're always a cherry on top to the base game. When we get in title updates for a base game, it's never a one-to-one translation in difficulty for the title update. In Monster Hunter Rise, we had these species called Apex Monsters. Apex Monsters were basically monsters who survived the rampage and made that power their own. They were a tier of monsters whose power were way above a normal species and basically Elder Dragon level. So all that to say is that the emergency Apex monsters didn't even come close to what we encountered in Sunbreak. I think that they'll probably be comparable to like maybe an 8-5 star monster, because I think that 8-5 was a nice little difficulty. I feel like 8-5 was actually the perfect difficulty for the game. I think that was a good place. 9-star monsters, that was kind of like, okay, these monsters are, what are we doing here? These monsters are getting a little crazy. And then 10 stars were just like, bruh, how did we get here? So yeah, I think like an 8-star monster, like an 8-5 monster, that's probably where the DLC is going to start in terms of difficulty. But I wouldn't expect a 10-star difficulty monster until the end game, or exactly the final boss of the whole shebang, or the final boss of Ascendance. What I'm more interested though with an Elder Dragon story are the Elder Dragons being able to be like having the legends really become reality. I'm gonna focus on 3 Elder Dragons that want to return. The 3 I'm about to talk about, these are not going to be like your Lunastras, your Teastras, but these are in-game monsters. These are the Elatrion. These are the Fatalis. These are the monsters that can only come back as either a final boss or the final title update. Because, yeah, they're that much in power. I'm actually going to start with probably the most popular one. There's a very great video that's been done by Gaijin Hunter. He's a really fascinating channel to watch. I highly recommend him. But I'm going to link his video down below on this because I cannot even hope to do as much justice to this theory as he did a year ago. But it's a theory about old Fatalis, or white Fatalis, whatever you want to call it. and I think that this is the one that people want the most to happen, that I think that people really want Old Fatalis to be the final boss or like the final title update. Because we just had Black Fatalis appear in World Iceborne. The theory of Old Fatalis being soft confirmed is that the diva is basically being influenced by White Fatalis or Old Fatalis. Now stick with me here. It's because in Monster Hunter Rise, there is this very underutilized, very underbaked concept of called resonance, where certain Wyverians are able to harmonize with an Elder Dragon and become basically like their avatar to speak with or interact with the modern world. And I think this would be really fascinating if he does return. But whenever we go on like these super hard quests, or like some of like the hardest quests you could think of in Monster Hunter, they're always issued by a character called the Scarlet Man. And the Scarlet Man, he issues one specific quest where he references the diva character, where he talks about this little girl who is saying, "Come with me to dance. Come to me where the stars meet the land, or come with me where the stars align." And she's basically describing all of White Fatalis' moves. But the eerie thing about it is that the way that she's talking in the original Japanese language, or like in the original Monster Hunter game, the way that it's written in a very old dialect or a very old style of Japanese. It's not impossible, but it's just very weird to hear a child talk in this very old version of Japanese. That kind of would hint at maybe it's White Fatalis talking through the diva, or talking through this white girl, because we don't know it's the diva. Just imagine if we get like for one of the title updates, or even like the final boss, who knows how he's going to be implemented. We get a special invitation saying that, and then she used the same language, like, "Come meet me in the place where the stars align. Come meet me where heavens meet the peak. Come with me where the stars dance," whatever she says. Imagine we get that same exact invitation to one of her shows, and right when she opens her eyes, it's a bloodshot red, and then White Fatalis comes right behind her. And again, remember, White Fatalis, Old Fatalis, the guild does not know about this monster because it is so rare to see. For one, we already know so little about Fatalis itself, let alone a subspecies of Fatalis. So the fact that she's describing all of White Fatalis' moves is another indicator on how did this little girl not only understand like this really old dialect of Japanese, but she also has seen White Fatalis in action, and she's lived to tell the tale. Like, so much of that just does not add up. And seeing that, like, a modern interpretation of that in Wilds would be absolutely bonkers. I'm with the community on this one. I want Old Fatalis to be the final title update. I've been preaching it in my live streams. I've been preaching it in the comment section. This is my number one pick for who I want to be the final in-game monster. Now, my number two pick, I still want Old Fatalis number one above all else, but I also wouldn't be upset about Dire Miralis. And let me tell you something about Dire Miralis. I feel like he is like the exact last black dragon that does not have a modern incarnation. So, yeah, it's pretty much just Old Fatalis and Dire Miralis. I think they're like the last two, and Crimson Fatalis too, if you want to count him. But that's a discussion for another day. Dire Miralis, he's basically like, he's Zora Magdaros on Black Dragon level. In Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, he's like the monster that basically put like the whole spiral of the game into all that. I don't want to get too deep into that because I didn't do too much research before that. But his power is so immense that he basically swims in a sea of red water. The hunters who have encountered him and lived to tell the tale, he is so much more powerful than anything they have ever described that they believe that the water he swims in is the blood of his fallen enemies, which is the most metal thing I have heard in a Monster Hunter game. I said it back in when Laggy got revealed. I really think that they're not going to bring back full-on underwater combat, but Miralis has an underwater segment, just like how Legiacus had an underwater segment. And I think that they were testing the waters, no pun intended, but just to see how the fans would react to an underwater segment. Not true underwater combat, but an underwater segment. And imagine how that would look. Imagine the spectacle that would be of us diving into this blood ocean with a black dragon. Just a dark, murky red with like bubbles, and then he's shooting lava craters at the bottom. We have to dodge the lava craters. We use the booster claw or whatever to switch skill dodge, and oh my god, that would be so cool. But just imagine an underwater segment where you're forced to fight him underwater. Oh my god, that is such a cool concept. I really want that. I want that probably just as much as I want Wife Fatalis, but the Wife Fatalis theory has so much credibility riding behind it. I want that the most, but I would not be mad about Miralis coming back either. And this is probably the one that I least want to return, but it has enough credibility that I can see it. But people want Dalmadur, the Midgard Serpent, to return, and I've seen a lot of gameplay of Dalmadur. I've never got that far in 4 Ultimate, but he is like the final boss of 4 Ultimate. And I don't know, he just seems like another Zora Magdaros fight, if I'm just being honest. Like, he had, like, I don't know, like monsters who are that big, because he is a giant monster. If you don't know, then the Rotten Vale in Monster Hunter World is that entire locale is the skeleton of a Dalmadur. That's just how massive this monster is. That an entire locale was born in its corpse. And then there's also another one where a Dalmadur skeleton is the Grand Hub or something like that. I've heard. I don't know, but I don't know. I'm not too much of a fan of him. Like, if they want to bring back Dalmadur, I want a complete revamp of the fight, because nothing I've seen of Dalmadur really awes me, or nothing is like, I'm okay with this monster being lost to time, because I just don't like these giant boss battles. I didn't enjoy what's his name, Zora Magdaros, or his Arch-Tempered form, which people said was a better version of the fight. Didn't see it, but hey, if they can do, I guess if they can do like the Archer version of Zora Magdaros and somehow incorporate those mechanics into Wilds, then pop off. But we got another giant big boy coming in Lao Shin Lung. But yeah, I'm not too keen on this one. But I'm acknowledging it because it's been referenced so many. Dalmadur has been referenced so many times that if he pops up, it wouldn't be too surprising. But yeah, I'm not too keen on this one. Now, for the 3 monsters, just regular Elder Dragons I would want to return the most, is that I feel like the most natural pick, if this is an Elder Dragon story, who would fit more than the Elder Dragon Hunter Negigante? That is literally his entire identity. His entire identity is that he's hunting the Elder Dragons to extinction. Could you imagine a Shagaru going against a Negigante? That would be a battle. And his fight also would fit the same pacing and the same theming that we got from Arch-Tempered Arkfeld. I can also see like Arkfeld and Negigante going at it too, where Negigante is trying to hunt all the Elder Dragons, but Arkfeld is being the defender that he is, and those who just get into a massive turf war, that'll be cool. I think Nerg is almost inevitably going to show up because of just how perfect he fits in, and we have the Iceborne director. Come on, the Iceborne director is literally directing this DLC. You think we're not going to get Negigante at this point? At some point, it's just such a natural fit. I can't see Negigante not showing up here. Another one that I feel like is just like the most obvious pick ever, but I still want it to happen, is Shagaru Magala. I don't think people really understand just why Shagaru is so popular as he is. But I mean, being that he is the literal evolution of Gore Magala, who was the central focus of the high rank story in Wilds. Like, it is gonna happen. Whether you want him to come or not, he's gonna happen. Okay? So it's not a matter of if he's coming, it's a matter of when he's coming. The one thing that people are pointing at is that the first shot of the Ascendance trailer is eerie similar to Heaven's Peak in 4 Ultimate, that's where you fight Shagaru Magala in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if we have like a storyline like that, because the reason why people remember that fight so well is because I dare say this is the only, like, Volcano was kind of sort of like a rival to the Hunter in a sense, but Gore Magala was constantly a thorn in your side throughout your entire journey in 4 Ultimate. Keep in mind, 4 Ultimate was basically a world tour. So all across the world, this Gore Magala was stalking you, hunting you, beating you down, where sometimes all you could do was just repel him because you had no hope of fighting off this monster. The A team got completely clapped. Fabius, Julius, Nadia, all these seasoned hunters we see, they all got decimated by Gore Magala. Fabius was left fighting for his life if we didn't show up. So it was like every time we fought Gore Magala, we always got away with him with an inch of our life. And when we finally slew Gore Magala, and we finally thought we quelled the situation and we finally beat him, that's when he molts into Shagaru Magala. It's very reminiscent to the Hunter. Like, after we take an L, what do? We go back to the forge, we go back to the smithy, we forge new armor, we get better weapons, and we try again. It's very much like that. Like Shagaru felt like he was literally going back to the smithy, forging his armor, reinforcing his craft, and he challenges us again on Heaven's Peak. And this is an uninterrupted fight. No zone changes, no going back to camp. It is a 1v1 between you, this one monster who has terrorized you your entire journey, and a 1v1 duel. No items, whatever you bring to Heaven's Peak, that's all you got. No restocks, no getting back. The only way you're going back to camp is if you cart. It is a 20-minute bloodbath between you and your arch nemesis, and only the strongest will survive. It is the most peak moment in Monster Hunter. Y'all thought that Raging Bracky was a moment? Imagine Raging Bracky, the final phase, but that's just the entire fight. That's what Shagaru Magala was in his debut game, and I would love to see a modern incarnation of that. And we've never seen the Frenzy Virus really just thrive and become like this literal COVID-19 level threat to the world. Like, the closest we got to that was in Sunbreak with the Curio, because in Gathering of the Curio, we got to see this entire ecosystem that was blooming with life become just drained of all things life and being just sucked dry. And if we don't stop the Curio spread, that's what's going to happen to the entirety of Elgato. Now imagine that, but on a global scale. Everywhere in the world you go, monsters are being driven into overdrive, being forced to use every ounce of their power, where they just keep fighting until they literally fight themselves to death or you kill them. That's what's going on all across the world with frenzied monsters, and it really puts into perspective that the world will literally kill itself by the frenzy virus if we don't stop Shagaru Magala from going all over the place. Imagine seeing that in the Oil Well Basin, seeing that happen in the Ice Shard Cliffs, all around everything. We have to go to Ascendance to beat Shagaru at his own game before he does this to the entirety of the Forgotten Lands. And Ascendance is our only safe haven because the frenzy virus has spread all throughout the Forgotten Lands, and this is our last stand. That would be so cool to see. Shagaru just has so much potential to be like this true in-game boss. I don't think it's very likely because the flagship of the expansion is always a new monster. So I don't think Shagaru's gonna be like the monster to beat. It's gonna be a brand new monster. It's always a brand new monster. But Shagaru being like a true central focus, or like even like a side plot of this to complement the main monster, I think that'd be pretty cool, because even like Negigante, like he was still pretty prominent in the Iceborne story. So it's not completely unreasonable to think that Shagaru is gonna have like this big role in the story. So I've reveled enough about Shagaru Magala. At some point, he's gonna get his own video, because he is my favorite Elder Dragon. So I'm extremely biased towards this monster. So I just gotta move on before I take up even more time than I already have. As I posted a couple of days ago, Valstrax. We did get Valstrax in Sunbreak, but you have to keep in mind, Crimson Glow Valstrax, he's a rare species of the base monster Valstrax. We still don't have a modern incarnation of just base Valstrax. I think it'd be really cool to see like Crimson Glow come back in probably a title update, but in the base game, just seeing a regular Valstrax, and Valstrax, where does he live? He lives high among the clouds, exactly where Ascendance is. And that new monster we saw was basically using a Valstrax's skeleton. So I feel like this is another monster that's just kind of a shoo-in that's gonna happen. But I still want it to happen, man. Like, Valstrax is a really cool monster. So I really want to see that happen. But the only thing I fear about Valstrax is that he is literally a rocket-powered Elder Dragon. Y'all thought Steve was annoying? Y'all couldn't handle Steve's speed? Imagine a literal jet plane dragon. How are we gonna deal with that? I mean, we dealt with him in Generations, his debut game, but I don't know, man. It's this could be very easily a monkey's paw situation. Be careful what you wish for. But I think that he's such a fan favorite that people wouldn't care. But I just really just want to see a modern incarnation, and being that we've seen a monster with the same skeleton as a Valstrax, and that his literal and natural habitat is high among the clouds. Come on, man, we're gonna get Valstrax. But getting into that new mechanic with the booster bracer, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because we literally only saw a little bit of gameplay of it, so there's not enough for me to form a true opinion on it. The only thing I want for the booster bracer are just having like switch skill level diversity, and by that I mean that there are certain weapons that people just aren't very satisfied with. I can speak for Charge Blade specifically, is that there's always like this fine line between Savage Axe playstyle and Super Amped Element Discharge spam. It's always that the developers want you to play one way or the other, but never both. In Sunbreak, it was pizza cutter or nothing. Like, Savage Axe basically didn't exist in Sunbreak, because if you didn't use the proper switch skills for it, you just literally could not access Savage Axe, which was definitely a choice if you ask me. I really want the booster bracer to encourage different play styles. Because even like with dual blades, there's grounded dual blades and aerial dual blades, and the switch skill mechanic allowed you to access both of your play styles, and you can swap between the two loadouts as on a whim in the middle of a hunt. That's kind of what I want Booster Bracer to do. It probably wouldn't be like an exact switch skill mechanic where you can just kind of swap between the two loadouts in the hunt, but I would like us to see a form where the Booster Bracer allows you to access a different part of your moveset and enhance different part of the moveset. Because right now with Wilds, with Charge Blade, it's pretty much favored towards Savage Axe fam. Just load up your Savage Axe, go for a Perfect Guard, activate the Savage Axe playstyle, and then just fall into the monster. Pizza Cutter just is never worth going for. So I'd love to see like a Booster Bracer where the Booster Bracer, it enables just basically instant SAEDs, so you can just kind of get that off really quickly before the monster repositions. Or like the Booster Bracer reduces the in lag of SAED spam. So like the moment you land an SAED, you instantly morph back into your Sword and Shield mode, so you have defensive options back online. I don't know. Like, that's why I want the diversity or the skill level of the Booster Bracer to do. To just enhance playstyles that already exist in different weapons, or like with Insect Glade, maybe finally make aerial playstyle a real viable option. Maybe like the Boosted Bracer, it unlocks a whole new skill set that can only be accessed when they're in the air. I know that'll make a lot of Insect Glade players really happy. That's just why I went out of the Booster Bracer, to just encourage new playstyles of the weapon and not just making the rich richer, essentially. Yeah, this is basically like my unfiltered opinions on the little 2-minute trailer that we had outside, and the 10-minute, not even 10 minutes, probably the 7-minute interview we had with the Monster Hunter Ascendance director. And these are all my thoughts, just kind of spilled out there in a very unstructured manner of whatever this was. So I've yapped my ears off now. I've got dehydrated several times, so I need to go drink some more water because I probably should have some water with me from the start of this, to be honest. I've done this enough times. I should know exactly where this is going to lead. But yeah, now it's time for me to hear from you all. Let me know what you guys think of Monster Hunter Ascendance. What monsters do you guys want to appear? Do you guys believe anything I said? Would you guys like to see Nata as the main character? Would you like to see Nata appear in crossovers? Like, if we got a Monster Hunter rep in the next Smash game, which will be revealed any day now, how would you feel about Nata being the Monster Hunter representative and using different weapons, kind of like how Violet does for her moveset? Would you be okay with Nata being the new poster boy for Monster Hunter going forward? Or would you prefer Aiden? Would you prefer to have Fiorane be the new poster child? Just let me know. Because at the end of the day, all this is just, these videos are always a launching point. This is never like the end-all, be-all. This isn't my word is law. I want to hear you guys' feedback because this is a discussion piece. We have a long way to go. Ascendance isn't going to come until next year, so we have plenty of time to sit here and theorize and get our thoughts together, say what's probably going to happen, what's not going to happen, temper our own expectations, and most importantly, just keep ourselves preoccupied so we can give the developers time that they need to cook. So, yeah, I look forward to hearing from you guys in the comment section, and I'm about to get some water because I desperately need it. My throat is destroyed. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. That hopefully will not be next year. Till then, deuces.